Replace. It's replace. To go on slate. Olivia, director's commentary.
Oh, cast commentary.
Take one.
Just the cast. Crew commentary.
Alright, so basically we're just going to be showing you guys our thoughts, our insights, and, just things that we, probably wouldn't know just by watching it, but some cool things that happened on the day of, or, just, we might show you some of the thumbnail sketches as it goes on, just to kind of show you in the making of the film. This is my first film. They've made a couple, but this is our first film together.
So, I'm Ashton Francis, the cinematographer.
Zach Bethel, the director.
I'm Griffin Milam, former PA, now co-director.
And now we're here.
And now we're here.
Alright, yeah, let's get started.
Yeah.
Pause.
So you see.
What, watching it again?
Yeah.
Yeah, after a certain point I got extremely sick of this movie. I just thought I'd throw that out there.
And it doesn't help that there's nothing within 30 miles from campus. Except cows.
So, funny story about the cows. Very funny story. So we wanted, and by we, I mean he wanted a shot of a cow right as soon as she said, except cows. And then a cow would pop up and you'd see the car drive by. That didn't happen for a couple reasons. One, we couldn't find a cow. And when we went to look, we got extremely shut down. Apparently farmers don't like us filming their cows. That's why there's not a cow there.
Yeah, we were cruising around trying to find farms with fences where maybe we could just drive the car past, and then I had it envisioned in my head where the cow would come up and he'd be chomping on some grass, and I don't know, that's just kind of what I saw in my head, and I really just wanted that shot. So we looked around for a couple days, not specifically looking for that, but just looking for the location of this first driving scene. And we came across one place, and we were like, let's just go ask this guy. I mean, I'm sure he'll let us drive past his house and film a cow.
At this point, we found cows. At first, it was hard to find cows, but at this point, we found one cow in this man's yard.
They were all in quarantine.
Yeah, I guess. But we basically knocked on his door, and he looked like we were aliens. Because we had all that gear.
I had my Ronin in my hand, and then, which if you don't know what a Ronin, here's what it looks like. But I had that in my hand. He had a slate in his hand, and we were just like, hey, can we film your cow?
Well, he asked us why, and I'm like, you just wouldn't get it. Just, it'll be done in a minute or so, and he basically said, get out of here. So we're like, oh, all right.
And
so that's why we don't have a cow in this scene, but,
Next time.
It's more about the fact that I'm all alone. I really miss home.
Also, I didn't catch this till after it was completely done, but there's a plant laying down right.
Yeah. So
that bothered me so bad. Dude, our budget was not. We didn't have a budget to have somebody come in here and fix all the strike marks and all the stuff like that.
Hi, how are you? Right on time. Come on in. Oh my goodness, your hair is so gorgeous.
Oh, thank you.
Anyway.
So for those of you who have felt the dying need to point out that the hair was a dead giveaway for the film, which if you haven't seen the film, go watch that first. But for those of you who felt that the hair, you needed to comment that the hair was a dead giveaway, yeah, that was the point. It's called foreshadowing, which is a little look into storytelling, but I don't want to go into that too far.
My little brother pointed that out. He watched the dream sequence, and he's like, wait, you just told us that she's going to become Olivia. I'm like, yes, that was the point.
Yes, that was the point. Good job.
job.
You tracked to the story.
Everything was for reason, even stuff that you guys didn't catch.
That first shot of her walking up and then the doorbell ring and the bell ring, that was shot 5 minutes, 10 minutes after she met the rest of the cast. So Everybody showed up on day. She had showed up the night before, but he showed up late. But that was like filmed. We were like, all right, let's just go start filming. And she was like, oh, okay. We didn't rehearse it. We just whipped out a camera and said go. And
Yeah. Also, funny story about this guy. We were gonna start filming, and I was asking Ashton if he knew any friends that could help set up lights. Just kind of be the person that that goes and gets batteries and stuff like that. And he was like, well, I have a friend who wants to get into film school, and he's pretty cool. I'm like, all right, I don't really care.
That was a lie.
And he showed up the first day late. I'm like, oh, cool.
one of these guys.
One of these guys, right? And he just pretty much was our Slater, and he did a pretty good job with that. And then, like, slowly but surely, he was pretty quiet. He didn't say much, but whenever he said something, it was like,
it was profound. It was
Yeah.
it was we would all be sitting there for like 5 minutes stumped, and he would just be like, oh, well, I know the answer. He'd be like, well, what would you like to share with the rest of us? And so, yeah, definitely became...
I also, not to gas myself up or anything, but there'd be a lot of continuity errors if I wasn't on set.
Oh, yes. So
So
we had a grading system for the PAs, and we gave them imaginary cookies for every time they did something
I forgot
awesome
about that.
on set. By the end of it, my dude over here like 45 cookies. The next PA had like 6.
yeah.
So he definitely came in clutch there. Which, not to knock on our crew was insane for like how quickly they just like jumped in. So
and no pay.
yeah, huge shout out to the crew and cast for doing this for 0 pay and free food.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Big shout out.
With that said,
Every day after school. Okay, so I don't think you'll have a problem. So just know that I want you to make yourself at home. Anything in the fridge is yours to make.
Your house is absolutely gorgeous, by the way.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much.
so this moment right here, we originally had what is about to be the next shot as the first shot, but then we were like, let's just build that anticipation a little bit more, because like showing that back shot, showing them walking up, because it was going to be the face shot, then them walking up, but for whatever reason we switched it, which I mean I'm glad we settled on this. No, because I think it wasn't working with how they were walking. It didn't work continuity wise. So we're like, well, what in the world are we going to do?
So we decided to add a shot, not only just to like fill it in to make sense, but we really took this second and figured out like how can we build the anticipation here, and just make it a little uneasy for the viewer, and that's kind of why it is the way it is. Whatever.
Olivia, can you say hi to Anna? She's going to be watching you tonight.
Oh, this is the first time the mask is shown.
Yes.
So this mask, we didn't just go to the store and buy a mask. What I did was, well, just a little bit of background on me. I graduated from Columbus College of Art and Design. Actually, even though I was an illustration major, I came up with the concept of this story because for my senior project I wanted to make it. I wanted to make a film. That was before I had even picked up a camera. Just for some reason I just knew that film was like a direction I wanted to go in. So I asked my professor, hey, can I make a short film? So he's like, I guess you're an illustration major, but sure. So I spent a long time working on the concept, spent several hours, probably even closer to 100+ hours developing the story. But one of the cool things is that in one of my classes where we had 3D sculpting and things, I decided to use that class to build the props that you see in the movie. Not all of them, but like a lot of them. So the mask, I actually, some girl in my class had her face live casted because they were going to make like a mask or something, I don't remember. And whenever she was done with it, they just like threw the lump of clay in the perfect shape of her face and like the discard, and I just went over there and I picked it up and I started sculpting away from it, and like just so it wasn't exactly like her, because that would have been weird.
Yeah, just like you'd be like, hey, here's a perfect face cast of this random girl.
Especially without her permission, because I didn't know who it was in there. I was like, oh, this is like a perfect face of a girl. We decided to use that, so then I put latex on it, and it was a pretty cool process. But yeah, then I painted it, and then I actually had it several months before the movie started. But was kind of like a staple to the movie.
Which he brought to me when pitching the idea. He was like, I don't have a whole lot, but I have this mask. And I'm like, okay, we can work with this. Yeah. We didn't prepare for this, but like we were just hoping that our cast member's face would just fit in this.
there.
Like,
yeah.
which
And it didn't. It hurt her a lot.
Yeah, it hurt her a lot.
It did not fit
No,
exactly.
we had to put like cotton balls where like you see that metal ring on the top,
yeah.
because like it was leaving a really bad red mark. But
And
yeah,
God,
Scotty killed it, and she was a trooper.
God love her, but it was like the first day, and she was sitting. She was actually sitting in this chair. I think this was around the time whenever she was like, "Hey guys, my forehead hurts," and she takes the mask off,
And it's
There's,
just
like,
a beating red circle.
We're like, "Oh my gosh, why didn't you say something earlier?" But
Except Griffin.
I did. Yeah, Griffin sucked. I hated it.
Your hair is just so pretty today. You've seen this episode 4 times already. Okay. Jim, did you call the electrician yet?
So, if you look one frame prior, which will show that, in the TV, if you look really closely, you can see one of our PAs flicking off the light.
Is that Andrew?
Is Andrew.
I didn't know
which,
so.
we got some stories with Andrew, so we'll reveal those as they come. We were like, well, we want the lights to go out because it wouldn't make sense if like the power went out and it was already dark or whatever.
TV and
Of
he's
the
just,
room,
like,
yeah.
standing there with his hand out there. Luckily, he didn't like walk.
Yeah,
away.
luckily he didn't like duck or make any sudden
Because
moves.
you could very easily miss it for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be here Saturday. I'll go hit the breaker.
We're doing some remodeling upstairs. It should be fine. It shouldn't happen again. So I'm going to head upstairs to get my purse and shoes and...
So for this shot, I had the camera, right? And we first tried like a tripod or like a pole, figuring out like a safer way to do it. Cause like I feel like on this day, this was like reshoot day, and we were on like a time crunch on like getting some of this stuff done or like moving to the next shot, or like I think we were about to break for lunch or something. I don't remember. So I quickly just grabbed a stool, stood up on it, and I was like this, and like I had the camera like this with the widest possible lens I could get, and yeah, I'm surprised the shot turned out how it did, but it turned out alright.
Yeah, it wasn't shaky at all.
No.
Because we were definitely going for like a still moment, like a break in the story, pretty much.
Hey, what's wrong?
So in this moment, one thing happened, which he like described the moment to me, and like it was hard for me to like wrap my head around, and then like I finally like got it, and I was like, so, and then we were able to like get the image and whatnot. But like this is the moment that we like start seeing her in her own head. Like her standing up theoretically never actually happens, right?
Right.
Like it was all in her head, and like we're starting to build the quote-unquote fear around Olivia as a character from Anna's perspective.
You'll begin to see this as the film progresses and as we kind of break it down a little bit. When I was storyboarding this movie, I definitely wanted to get a sense of not like telling you what she's thinking by like dialogue, and like there is a little bit of that in here, but I definitely just wanted to like show you, because you know how like when you're scared about like somebody underneath of your bed or in your closet, how you can almost trick yourself into seeing that. After like this weird event where she's like, they're here, they're coming, they're here, and like she gets freaked out by that, that's whenever like that gets planted in her head that like she should be scared. And so we start to see that develop, and as you know the scenes progress, I'll kind of break that down, but essentially, yeah, he's right, you start to see what she's scared of in her own brain.
Yeah. Which, yeah, I feel like we showed that pretty well with her just being back to a normal state, her kind of like shrugging it off like, oh, that was just all in my head, and whatnot. So
the sound, however, was real. It's not the sound of the wheelchair creaking, which it is, that's not real, but you also hear a door open and close.
Yes.
And that actually happened.
So yeah, I mean, at this point, if you're watching this, you've obviously seen the movie, so no spoilers or anything. But
spoiler, right here, this is a spoiler. So stop watching if you haven't seen it yet. Okay, go ahead.
So so they're like, that's another thing that we can do as well, is pause the moments whenever a lot of people might miss it. But I was really trying to develop this idea of the others, because she's talking about like, they're here. Well, who's they, right? In Anna's mind, which is the babysitter, she doesn't know who they are yet. And that kind of messes with her a little bit. And at this point in time, the viewer's not supposed to know who they are yet. So they start to just like maybe hear things or see things in the background that like you might not know who it is, but you know that they're probably on Olivia's side because she's like some weird girl who keeps talking about it. This is when we first started to see basement box.
Yes. Basement box. So, basement box is a reference to the color grade that we... Oh my gosh. The countless hours we spent on just coloring this thing because we didn't think on the day of to make the shots match. And so we color graded every single individual shot once and it was bad. We did it again, it was still bad.
It looked green.
Yeah, it was really bad. And so, but we knew, like, we did want to do, like, hues of green because that was kind of that look we're going for, that grungy look.
Right.
But later you'll see, and I'm sure you've already seen, the scene where she's down in the basement with the box, right? Mm-hmm. We developed a color grade there. And we're like, oh, this is perfect.
We just started copying and pasting into every single time.
And it just worked. We were like, oh, it worked again. Oh my gosh. And so that definitely sped up the process once we found that. Yeah. And that's how we found the Olivia look, or basement box.
I'll go get my baked potato real quick.
Okay.
Baked potatoes go.
Hold for baked potato.
Which just all fell in the
I would laugh so hard.
So enjoy this.
He's going to be snacking
the rest
the
of
whole
this.
It's an ASMR now.
If you notice there wasn't any toothpaste in that shot. Just thought I'd throw that out there.
They're here.
So this moment, people were supposed to laugh, right? But I laugh every time I see this shot because Andrew.
That's not Scotty. That's a boy wearing the wig, the mask, and the dress. Our PA.
Yes,
named
our
Andrew.
PA, Andrew Hayes.
Good old Andrew. He was just the lightest one, you know, because...
Yeah, so in that moment, we were all like, who is the lightest one in the room? Just so it's as easy as possible on Alexis, or Anna, our main character.
Because she was struggling a little bit. And it's because, I mean... We had to do this shot like so many times to get it right, and after a while, like she was
it just gets heavy, and
was sweating.
Oh my gosh, yeah,
it was hot in there a little bit.
And so we were like, who do we think is the lightest one in the room? And
it
was one of those movie moments where it got completely quiet in the room, and we all just like turned our heads towards Andrew. He's like, and like he was like on his phone or something during that that break, and he like looked up from his phone, and he was like, what are you guys looking at? And we're like, put the wig on. And he was like,
put the wig on.
Okay. And then...
he pretended like he didn't want to do it, but deep down inside...
Okay, Andrew.
Oh, and I got so many comments on this part as well. Like, they're like, why'd she carry her up? And I was like, well, how else
she's paralyzed.
And then, no,
she's paralyzed.
And they're like, well, I've like worked with wheelchairs and stuff, and you're supposed to like pull it up behind you. And it's like, oh... That'd probably make more sense anyway, but...
Yeah, but we also didn't want to... so the wheels on the wheelchair were, like, metal.
Oh, yeah. I'm glad we didn't do that.
And so if we would have drug it up, it would have destroyed his parents' house stairs, which was the location. And then, two, it wasn't as funny. Like, that would have been, like, but, like, that would have been funny for, like, a couple steps. But then, like, after a while, it's just kind of pointless. So...
Shout out to my parents for letting us use their location for free. But, quick story about this wheelchair is... basically we were just hunting for props for the movie, and we still needed a wheelchair, and I didn't want I don't know if you've ever looked for wheelchairs on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, but you just cannot find
It's hard. It's harder than you think.
But we scrolled and I found one for like $50, and I was like,
no way.
Heck yes. But it was like far away. And so I drove all the way down there. I could barely get it in my Honda Civic. And then the guy's like, well, hold on. We got a whole warehouse full of some old vintage stuff. I was like, well, let me take a look. So I walked in there, and then we found this creepy unicorn painting.
Which you see in the end credits. You see it a little bit in the film.
Right here.
Are you putting it there?
Oh, no. This is all post stuff, right? Like, it's right
it's
here.
okay. So right there.
Block me out, right?
is... Yeah, so there's another thing we're about to tell you about Andrew, but here we go. Mm-hmm. So right here, that shot...
No, it's right here.
Okay, so one take prior to this, she kicks in the door and slams his head up against the bed, like the thing, and he just played dead. Like, he just kept going. Like, he was trucking on. We're like, cut, are you good? Are you good? He was like, yeah, I'm all good. I didn't even feel it. We're like, okay.
I think it was because he was unconscious.
Yeah, he was unconscious. So we did it. We're like, all right, take 2. She dodges the door in this take and sets him down. Boom, right up against this headboard, which he set it down. We cut the audio out because it was just a big thud.
But it is the take where he gets hit.
It is. This is the take where he smashes his head.
What a trooper!
So funny.
Oh, there's the unicorn painting.
Oh yeah,
Bottom left.
The lighting on her face there gets me every time. It's so good.
Our first editing session, we found this song. So this shot, I'm sure you guys noticed, is a oneer. It's one continuous shot from the moment she walks down the stairs to the moment that she sits down on the couch. And me and the sound guy, Chris Cummins, I had the Ronin, right, and then he was like behind me with the boom pole, and like we were like walking around the house, and like when we would face the window, which you're about to see, we'd like duck off to the left and then like go around. And there's also a couple like Easter eggs that you see in the background in these shots, and we'll pause and point those out when those come up. Yeah, so right here we had a duck up against the counter.
So you can see the reflection. Yeah.
I wonder how many times they watched.
But they all caught the fact that she turned the thermostat to 74.
74 degrees.
Which I agree is ridiculous. But
So, all right.
We didn't think people would notice.
So, when we called cut on that scene, we like celebrated because after every shot, for whatever reason, I like got so happy, and so I'd be like, "Oh, that's the one! Oh, that's the one! Oh, that's it!" And so like I set the camera down, like I took a deep breath, I was like, "That was the one!" And then we all celebrated because it took us like 3 tries, but like 3 tries in a minute and 15-second thing is like 5 minutes.
Also, we mentioned a few Easter eggs, like the dad and the mom standing there. There was one Easter egg that I put in there that's not relevant to the narrative whatsoever. I think you know what it is.
Yeah.
I don't think you know what it is. But what's the fun in telling you? You guys can go find it.
what?
I'll show you later.
Was it in the one?
Oh, okay. So this right
yeah.
here, this photo, Zach, go ahead and hold on. Wait a second.
Yes, this photo actually is a photo of my dad, who coincidentally, owns the house that we're in.
Wait, that's crazy. I thought you found a picture of our actual actor.
No,
That's
you didn't
crazy.
even know this?
No.
Oh my gosh.
I thought you guys asked him for a
No.
picture of himself,
No.
like a little bit younger.
No,
but-
so you see, I'm an
Wow, that's
expert
crazy.
Photoshopper, right?
He prides himself in his Photoshop abilities.
Yeah.
Okay.
Story for a different day. So this photo actually is it's a photo of my dad holding my sister, who actually, in the missing poster in the very first few shots,
Is her.
is her. But I couldn't find any pictures of our actor. Not that I couldn't find him, I just felt weird asking for pictures.
Like, hey, can I have a picture of you holding your child?
Yeah,
Do you
so
have
it's
any of
weird.
those?
So
we didn't do that.
We ended up. I just took a picture of him on his Facebook. I didn't ask him, so I hope
I hope he was okay with that.
he was. He actually was like.
Oh yeah, because he was walking by and we forgot to tell him too.
We forgot to tell him,
and he
he's
said,
like-
"Why is my picture on the wall?" And we're like, "Oh, we forgot to tell you." So
yeah. Yep. That's
it's
definitely not him. It's a different head on a different body. How's the lettuce?
Was it really?
Yeah, there you go.
So for this shot,
What's going on?
for those cinematographer buffs out there, for those who actually care, If you don't, skip ahead. But this lighting setup was quite intricate, and it took us longer than you'd think for no reason. But so we had a subtle kind of backlight in the background in the hallway. That's why you kind of see some of that little depth there, like you see a little bit of the hallway. We had like the tape lighting around the door frame of the closet, and that's how we got that blue. And then we had another light over here that was casting like a little bit of green onto the ceiling. You see a little bit on her hair, super subtle though. I think we honestly like colored it out. Mm-hmm. And then the bottom left, there's just one of these orange cube lights to create some contrast there.
Battery died. It's okay, guys, right?
I think it did.
So the battery died. We didn't catch that sooner.
Actually, that's the light that you were just talking about. With this specific scene, it was really important to me to have this like just right, because for one, I think this should be the scariest part of the movie. Not like story-wise, but you know, like just the way that we wanted to create like an impending doom. And also we wanted to create this, like, you couldn't quite put your finger on it, but things weren't exactly right. Like, obviously the lighting is completely different. So, like, if you were to rewind this, like 30 seconds before she walks in the room, it's a completely different lighting setup.
Yeah.
And it very subtly changes over a period of time, and that's to kind of show, to not really show, but, like, it's to make you feel like it's like something.
She's
different.
walking into, if you haven't seen the movie, she's walking into the dream. She's, like, in kind of, like, becomes engulfed into this thing that's going on in her head.
And the other reason the dream sequence was very important to me is because at this point we start to get a very clear cut idea of like what she's scared of. So obviously, since she's dreaming, she's painting this image in her head, and she's basically turning into Olivia. She's turning into what she's most scared of, which is kind of where the real horror lies, I would say, in the story, is like she's so scared of Olivia that she doesn't really like want to become her. And little do you know, tons of people in the comments were like,
yeah,
I totally saw this coming. You were supposed, it's foreshadowing. But anyways, this scene was actually pretty scary to film too, I would say, because I actually wasn't like in the room. In the room in the background, which you'll see the door open and stuff, there was a lot of intricacies of, my wife was actually the one sitting in the wheelchair because Scotty was the one who was taking place.
She was playing the shoulder, like, so when we see the over the shoulder, we had Scotty delivering the lines, we had Alexis, obviously playing the Anna character. So therefore, in the background, we wanted this, like you'll see, Olivia to come at her.
I'll just show you.
Oh wait, and one of my favorite things about this scene is the voice that Olivia is speaking in is Zach here.
Oh yeah.
That's all him. It completely threw me off guard. I thought you just like threw on some like filter on what was actually said, and it blew my mind to hear that was his voice. That sounds exactly like how it sounded in
No, it was my wife's voice.
Yeah, because the day of there was like an air conditioner or something, and so like it just wasn't usable. And we're like, well, Scotty lives an hour and a half away, so we're not gonna call her back for ADR, so we're like, we kind of just all have to ADR this whole thing ourselves.
So I called my wife in, and I just had her record it, and we synced it up. I threw a couple effects on it just to kind of enhance that dream. She's like echoing, which obviously isn't real. But so that was awesome. And a lot of people don't catch it, but obviously my wife is like, I can't believe that's my voice. It sounds so much like.
You're scaring me. Please stop scaring me.
So obviously the door opened. And we were going for like a Michael Myers, like your eyes begin to adjust after a certain amount of time in the dark, and that's why you start to see,
Which was actually one of our PAs just turning up the light in the background. But
They're gonna hear you. Listen. They're gonna get you. They're gonna get me.
so yeah, building this moment, she starts to stand up, she steps into the light and then steps out of it, and she's kind of like gone again.
There's a way out. There's always a way out.
So this moment, this was a fun moment. So we had two of our PAs put their hands on her eyes, and we also like emulated the that same blue light coming from that side to
Practically.
make practically in this next shot, like the wake up shot, to emulate that it's the same thing. And it was just this like quick, like smooth in camera transition to almost like disorient you to like, where am I? And you're like, oh wait, no, like that was a dream this whole time. So definitely to like create to create like an in-camera seamless transition
from a dream to back to reality,
Yeah.
which is why the lighting had to change, which is what I spoke of earlier. The lighting is completely different.
Yeah, and so we had, when we called action, there was 2 people pulling their hands off her eyes. She was shooting up, and then like the light had to like shift from like blue to like normal color.
which we just took a gel and we like flipped it back up.
Flipped the gel up, and that all happened in the course of like, I don't know, a second.
It took us like eight attempts.
Yeah, this part right here, this is cool. So
Filmed
the
during the day. Actually.
Right.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So yeah, this shot right here kind of looks like nighttime, you know? I mean, we have the subtle moonlight in the back, but definitely still dark. And we had to...
That was a task.
This was the windiest day, probably. It was the windiest day we possibly could have chosen to go do this. And we took black tarp and blacked out every single window in the house. And his parents just happened to have every window in Ohio
Yeah.
in their house. And so,
There's
I don't
like
know.
40 or 50 windows on the main
floor. Yeah.
Which
And
is
so...
that shot.
Yeah, which is this shot. And so if we remove the black tarp, this room is just bright as, day.
The very first scene of the movie.
The very, very first scene of the movie, which you can remember being very, very bright. And so, yeah, we took like 2 hours to black out all the windows.
And right from the beginning, before we even started filming, I knew that I would want to. I don't want to wait till nighttime to film.
Yeah.
Because that's just really impractical for our actors.
That's wasting time.
This is-
Like, yeah.
So we decided to just go ahead and bite the cost, bite the time, and go ahead and just black out every window.
Yep.
And there's a couple moments in the movie whenever you'll see that it's supposed to be nighttime, and there's like a little black tarp
Yep.
like flapping on the window in the background that you don't really.
You don't really notice, but of course we noticed. So right here in this moment, in her headphones, there's a like a Spotify ad playing, and we knew we wanted some kind of Spotify ad, but like obviously like there's copyrights behind that. So Zach over here just got some music and his voice and made the Spotify ad
Are you tired of ads? That's hilarious.
for just a low price. It was like $19.99 a month. It was some stupid high price.
I mean,
$14.99 a month.
well, yeah, there's me in the background.
Yeah, so we didn't get any comments here, but right here in the background, you see a light in that back room, and it's a phone. Again, emulating that she's calling the quote-unquote parents that are already in the house. But I read through the comments, and like nobody caught this.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, so we just wanted to make... The story was, she calls the mom, obviously, from the paper that she got. And, she gets a pickup and then nothing. And in your head, you were thinking... What I wanted the viewer to really understand and get is, okay, she was sleeping. What happened when she was sleeping? Mm-hmm. We don't know what happened when she was sleeping or how long she was sleeping, because now it's dark.
the middle of the night sometime, yeah.
So, we were hoping that, like, maybe the audience or the viewer would see, oh, maybe that's Olivia in the back, or, like, maybe that's one of the others that she keeps talking about. But either way, it's kind of creepy that, there's the person she's trying to contact is inside the house, and the viewer knows it, but she doesn't.
And,
It just now knows that the clock also stops with the power going off. What?
Oh, yeah.
because we just didn't think about, like, we didn't want to
I know,
keep
I
it
know.
ticking.
That's the first time I noticed it.
So these feet right here,
Them hairy legs are mine.
these hairy legs are your boys over here. We, I think we like tried Andrew, but then we like, for this, how the shot continues, how like the camera like picks up and follows her here in a second. We're like, oh, well, we need Andrew to do that. So it was actually,
Yeah.
We actually had you, if I remember correctly, for this shot, we had you lay like horizontally on a rug.
Yep.
With the camera like facing towards the door, and I was there
pulling the rug.
I
yeah.
pulled the rug along, so we had a smooth like dolly shot of her feet and then up towards
We
the
had a bunch of hands on deck for the shot. For some
Yeah,
reason.
there was like, for whatever reason, well, because it was such a long shot.
And it was the lights that had to be synced and turned off in like a couple different places.
Yeah, because there was like 4 different light switches that had to go off for the entire room to be dark.
At the same time.
And so they just, like, it was like 3, 2, 1, flick, all the lights went out, and then it was like, okay, now you get behind the wheelchair and push it, and when we say go, he's gonna pull.
It was crazy.
It was insane.
I remember.
This is one of my favorite shots of the movie.
I do remember everyone was in a bad mood for this shot.
Yeah, because like
No one enjoyed this part of it.
At this point in time, this was like Thursday or Friday of the shoot, and it was a 5-day shoot.
Yeah.
And so we were all tired. We were like, there was some complications with the location, and so we like, it was just the start of us being in a bad mood.
You're right. Because while this is being shot, I'm pretty sure you're outside. No, you're here, but we still have people tarping up windows at this point.
Yeah, there's still people, like, there's PAs outside tarping up the rest of the windows for like the next shot.
There was not enough people on. Like, there was the most amount of people were on set this day, and we didn't have enough because after every shot we had to go out there and like tack up the tarp again.
Yeah.
And then just overall, I think we had got the news that we had one less day to shoot.
Yep.
Which is like devastating.
Yeah, it's like devastating because we were like,
not
oh,
planning
like
for
we
that.
have plenty of time to get reshoots, and
But it worked somehow.
yeah, we made it work. So in this coming scene, you'll see, we'll tell you how we like dealt with that, the situation we were dealt with, but and play.
Yeah, no one mentioned that. That's like that. There's the like.
Yeah, nobody in the comment section really commented on his feet.
How beautiful my legs were.
Yeah, or like the fact that he was there. Period.
There's the rug pull.
There's the rug pull, hand off to another person, and then we cut that short. So.
And let me tell you about this scene right here. Or Zach, do you want to tell about this scene right here?
I'll set you up to finish the story. So, I was just having a rough day, bro. Like, as I said, we had a complication with the location. This scene was in the middle of the day. It was like 12 o'clock, so it was bright and sunny. You know, we were probably hungry.
Yeah.
Wasn't this the last day or close to the last day?
It was like Thursday. Like, yeah, because it was Thursday because we were like, they're coming back like Friday afternoon. We're like, we just lost Saturday. But we ended up working that out and we didn't lose Saturday. But
so what happened, I just needed to take a breather. I was like, I've never directed before. I'm not going to lie to you and say that production was, unicorns
in his
and
jeans,
rainbows
yeah,
the whole time, which I still had a blast. I felt depressed whenever everyone left, but that all that being said, like, I just needed a break, but like we needed to keep pushing forward because
we were on a time crunch now. At this point, where we just lost 12 hours.
Yeah, so this is where Griffin stepped up, and I'll go ahead and let him. First, I just went outside and I was just on my phone for a little bit, and I just was like, Griffin, go ahead and just direct this scene. And it's like one of the most important scenes too. I was like, well, whatever, you can just
So at this point, he like needs to step out. He's like, I gotta step out. Like, but we're like, well, we need to shoot the scene. We need to like stay on top. He's like, but I need to take a breather. And I'm sitting there on my phone, like one of the like little lounge areas. They're like, Griffin, we need you. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, because
okay.
so he was just chilling in the green room, and we were like, he was like, oh, okay. And so like Zach gave him a quick rundown of the scene. And then he was like, if you have any more questions, just ask me, because I had a pretty good understanding of the scene. We handed him a script, and he's like, all right, I got it.
And I did have it. It worked out pretty well. I felt like this is like the part where I really proved myself as a co-director in a way.
As the valuable asset to the team.
Yeah. And having this scene done and shot from like a new mindset, because you were like kind of burnt out. And I personally feel like if this scene didn't have the energy it needed to have, then
the story would have fell apart.
It wouldn't have built the intensity. Yep.
Exactly. So
so right here, she's like walking around. She smells, if you haven't seen it, the dead bodies. She peeks in. She goes in this room. And then right here, she finds the breaker box. And if you look very closely, the words are flipped. They're backwards because the breaker box was not in that room at all. It was actually on the other side of the basement, but I knew I wanted to make it seem like it was in the same room, where there would be no incentive for her to go in that room at all. Mm-hmm. And so we did a seamless black transition to where it went behind her back and then came out from her back in the different room. but it was flipped, and so we had to flip it in post. That's why the words are backwards. But it ended up working out pretty
Yeah,
well.
So if you play it, Ashton, go ahead and tell him where the cut is.
Yeah. So you play. She flicks it on. And cut.
But it's so seamless.
But which I'll play that back in I'll play it back. And so when it's going and then it's like it's such a there's a cut there, which I think we actually had to like crossfade it because if we didn't, then you actually did see like a little bit of twitch, and so we just did a super quick crossfade to like smooth that moment out.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's actually a shot of her face that you're about to see, and it shows that there's definitely not a breaker box in the background, but nobody caught that. So
I didn't even catch that, honestly. Oh, and this is our beloved basement box color grade.
yes, this is where we got the basement box.
I just wanted like a Breaking Bad, like grimy, gross feeling because she's standing right next to dead bodies.
Cecina. Say that 5 times fast.
And also, a lot of people were a little bit frustrated as to why she might be going downstairs. And I wouldn't say a lot of people. I had one person say, like, why did she go downstairs? And I hate it whenever people in movies just go downstairs and you're not really...
Explore. There's no motive, but there was motive.
The power was out.
Because we also reference earlier in the film... Here, I'll pause it. We reference earlier in the film that she goes downstairs because...
The breaker box.
The breaker box is downstairs. You know, so she was like, in earlier in the film when the power goes out before, you see Jim go down the stairs
saying,
and
I'll
go reset the breaker. So therefore, she already knows where the breaker is, give her your incentive to go downstairs. Again, only one person commented on that, but for those who maybe were thinking it, that was her incentive, was the breaker box. Why is she in that room? The breaker box is there. It just so happens that a bunch of dead bodies in a book is there. So she does get a little snoopy here, but again,
who wouldn't?
Who wouldn't?
Also, those people there are all my family.
This is true.
Except that one chick. I don't know who that one chick is. I kind of
on the far right or on the far left. Oh, okay. Yeah. So these next shots right here. So these photos were actually taken like 10 minutes before this scene was done with like all the PAs, because we were like, how do we show dead babysitter after, like, to show that this repetition in this book was that.
Excuse me.
Sorry. So in that moment right there, there was 2 bags full of pillows, and then 2 more bags were filled with our PAs.
Andrew coming in hot again.
Yeah, Andrew coming in again, and then we had Sarah Ranke, who actually appears later in the film as the last babysitter, but she was also one of the dead bodies, because we were like, we don't have any mannequins, and we don't want to just be like empty bags, because we got to show some body parts to like really sell this moment.
Balling on a budget.
So yeah. That's how that happened. What else? Was there something else there? Oh! Her acting here was great. So just thought I'd hype her up there.
Good job, Olivia.
You're not Olivia, are you?
So I think this scene was probably the most frustrating, most complicated scene to shoot.
We shot this twice. This entire scene, we shot it twice. Because we could not get the coloring and lighting right the first day. Let me tell you, I was frustrated with
So the
scene.
first time we had the camera outside the window that's currently to her left, and she was like looking out the window, and she like closed it and locked it, and then that's when we see Jim get out of the bed here. So for that, it was daytime. We needed to be nighttime.
Oh my
so
god!
Ashton
Took 2
volunteered. Yeah, he built his own
box. I built a box.
He built a box on the roof that like concealed all the light, but he could like stand in it, right? And it's so hot out.
Oh my goodness, I was baking in this box. There should be like a clip right here of like
her looking out the window as a way to escape, right?
Yeah.
And the shot that we had planned and that I had storyboarded was like outside of the house, looking through the window. He would be coming up in the background, and that would just be like one shot, right? Mm-hmm. So we did that, and the angles weren't right. I think we had to.
There was a mirror there, but the depth was really off, and so we just had to scrap that whole thing. Which, let me tell you, like if you're ever wanting to get in production, be prepared to just throw away your hardest work and replace it, because like.
And we did.
Yeah. We threw away some really hard work. Mm-hmm. I mean, for example, we spent 45 minutes to black out a window, and it just didn't work. And it was like, okay, that was a waste of 45 minutes, but at the end of the day, we got a better result story-wise.
Yeah.
So,
100%.
Yeah.
So another cool thing here is like she's closing herself off.
So almost trapping herself.
She thinks she's like separating herself away from the danger, but in reality, we see with that shot, she's locking herself in with the danger.
So right here, another cinematography thing. So I'll just pop up that frame of that split shot, and the idea there was the dirtiness and then like the orangeness. So you get the light, you get the cool colors, and you get the warm colors. Almost like this shot right here, where like my side of the frame is very cool and his side is very warm. You actually see that in the film.
Oh yeah, it's pretty similar.
It's the good and evil almost. Like, so there's actual visual storytelling here.
Right.
And the idea of him crawling on the bed, one, was just weird. You know, we wanted to really dig into that just like, disgustingness of the film.
Yeah.
And then also like the fact that the evil is physically trying to overtake the good, or the so
it's
yeah, like
creeping up
the
on
bad
them.
is creeping up on the good. And so that's kind of that visual storytelling there for those cinematographer buffs.
The classic light versus dark.
Looking at the candles. Got your bicycle. Calm down, honey. Daddy's.
Which, didn't he ad-lib this? Pretty sure this was like ad-lib dialogue. So.
Most of it was.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you had like something he wanted to say, and then we needed him to keep going.
Sweetheart. Olivia.
So this shot right here coming up, them running down the stairs was here, I'll pause it before I show it. I'll describe it. So on the Ronin, the audio was already substantially behind me. And his house is set up interestingly, or his parents' house. It has two back doors that are like parallel with each other. And so while they ran out one back door, the other one was already open, and I just hucked it out that one. And so a lot of people think there was like transition cuts there. No, this next shot you're about to see is all one shot of us running past the wall, down a set of stairs, and out the door. It just happened that he had the perfect back patio for this to work.
It was pretty cool. When I had imagined this shot, we knew that something was missing. We didn't really know exactly how he wanted to track them running out. And I was like, it'd be really cool if you had an outside of the house, and since there's so many windows, to just have them to track outside, because I think that'd be cool. But it just didn't really work out that way, and I'm really glad we did it inside because it's very visually pleasing.
Yeah, and like how we slow down when they run out the stairs. It only took a couple tries to get like the speed right.
Yeah.
But dude, they committed. Play.
So that's just a door. Yeah.
Yeah, I just walked out a door, and then we cut to this shot, and then
There's
the Top Town
tape.
drone.
That's it.
Yeah, the tape. I'm not gonna replay it, but tape.
Oh yeah, and then our sound guy at this point jumped in the car because
He was outside of the car.
I never yelled cut, so she just kept going. And it would just ended up working out.
Yeah,
I was like standing, and you guys were driving away, and I was like, well,
I guess
don't know
they'll
how far
just
they'll go.
they'll just call cut. Yeah. Also, he's walking. We did play with that idea. Somebody else commented, why did he walk and not run? Why isn't he like chasing after them? Why go through all the work of, having the mom in the back seat and all that kind of stuff? Well, because the plane was already in motion, right?
He already knew that.
He already knew that she was in the back seat. He was just going to try and reason with her. If she didn't, boom, fine, whatever. We'll just wreck the car and do it like we always do. So this shot right here was filmed This
in the middle of a grass
was
field.
filmed in his backyard, or his parents' backyard, with a red light, and then Griffin off to the side. Do you see those cars passing? Was just Griffin with a light just whipping around, and then there's a subtle green light on her that was just like a phone light. I think just giving her some.
It's right here.
Yeah, just giving the steering wheel and her face just a little bit more blue and some ambiance.
Yeah, I love the way this is filmed because it's red, but you don't think about it, and red is a very aggressive danger, and you don't really know why until obviously the hand.
You see the hand start obviously in this frame right here.
Car scenes. This was a ton of fun because a lot of this film was you see what you get. There wasn't a whole lot of special effects. There wasn't a whole lot of this. It was a lot of just the story itself is what's scary. But with this shot here, we really got to play around with fooling the viewer into thinking she's on a road driving. Yeah. When in reality, the car is probably not even turned on.
No, I don't think it was.
And she just has her lights on, and she's just like in the middle of a field.
Yeah, and I was laying on the hood, handheld, to give that like shaky feel, and like I was like this on the hood, and so it definitely, I think it definitely paid off as in visually wise. The shot you're about to see, though, of the rear view mirror was actually shot months later, on the day of the day we filmed the end credit scene. We've had to film that at like a separate facility.
We just knew that we wanted a little quick snippet of like the rear view mirror and her looking through it.
Yeah, because in this shot we didn't think about it because she like turns around and she reacts before she attacks, and so we wanted her to like turn around. And then we show what she's looking at, then she reacts, because it kind of took away some of that awkward pause. So,
cool thing about Scotty, she thought that it would be really cool to start crying.
Which, okay, so we filmed it, but we cut the scene. So I'm sorry, Scotty, that you had to do that.
Endure this pain, but essentially she just had a bag full of like chopped onions, smelling up Alexis's
car and saying it's totally okay. I'm like, dude, I would not be okay with me.
They went through a lot for no pay.
Like they really committed to this role, and we really appreciate it.
But thank you so much for your effort, Scotty. Although we didn't use it, I'm very sorry. But yeah, she just like rubbed like the onion juices on her eyes. She's crying, and
like genuine tears, and we're like, the shot just doesn't fit.
It was a great shot, but in the sequence of like the timing of the story,
it kind of slowed down the pacing a little bit, and that's why
we'll send it to you anyway, Scotty. That way you can have that for your reel.
Yeah. Oh,
I won't. But.
So yeah, she sees it, reacts to it, crashes the car. So the idea of this shot right here was to almost make it seem like she's on the crash site or something like that. That's why there's these blue lights. It's really dark. She seems hurt. So we definitely didn't have it to where she was in the house until right here. All of it gets revealed at once.
Yeah, this shot was really satisfying too. We only did it like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is where you get the payoff of, the cops being her favorite show. You don't really think about that because it wasn't a very like prominent element, but it makes sense once you recall it. Our actors did great here. I'm surprised we didn't film this more.
Yeah.
They killed it.
Right here. And so like you see like how we'll pause that. You see how the bodies get there all the time. It's because, they kill the last Olivia and they're on to the next one. So they take the bodies downstairs because, well, obviously they'd get caught. That's where the missing posters come up because they're the reason that the missing posters are there. And so in this scene right here, it ties up a bunch of loose ends, and we also see the story come full circle. And we'll go ahead and play this. We actually built a full dolly and only used it for this shot, but it definitely paid off and whatnot.
Also, the body that he's carrying, again, Andrew.
Oh, yes. It's once again Andrew. In the back.
And the lights that you see flashing on her face are just me and another PA just flickering 2 gelled colored lights.
Yeah, and they had to like get on tempo. They were like 5, 6, 7, 8.
It was a whole band rehearsal back there.
Yeah, so
for the whole
shot. Yeah, so you see the lights continue to go, and again you see the loose ends raveled up, and you also see the story repeat. And we'll continue to play it here.
Just make sure everyone's safe, okay? And so when I see you peeling out around the corner and swerving all over the place, my job
It just kills me to see Andrew in a bag like that. So we hear that bell from the original part of the movie.
Good, right on time. So my name's Tracy. My husband's around here somewhere. I will let him introduce himself. So we're just going to go up here.
We see Jim get to his spot.
Where you going? You ready yet?
Complete circle. Complete tie back.
Beautiful ending.
Beautiful ending. Written by yours truly over here.
Yeah, it was a ton of fun. This was, for the first project, I'm more than happy.
Yeah.
With
Which
how it turned out.
we'll let those credits play out the video. But
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have much else to add other than like I just had a blast with the cast and crew. My very limited budget, we didn't have a whole bunch of resources, but we somehow made it work. And I don't have any complaints. I mean, if I could go back and redo it, I might have changed a couple of things, but like it was overall just a learning experience for us. There's definitely more to come. We already have a couple projects in
in the works.
in the works for sure, and he won't be our Slater, I can tell you that.
Yeah, he'll be a little bit less than that. Okay, don't hype this guy up.
If
I'll
he
be
shows up
gapping.
on time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If he shows up on time, we'll give him a decent position.
Give me a cookie.
We'll give you a cookie. You missed.
Yeah, I did. Broken like 4 pieces.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Again, go ahead and like the video, subscribe if you guys want to see more content like this for future projects and to stay updated on what we got going on.
Also with the pre-production and a lot of the script, we'll show you some of that. We storyboarded every single shot, and we stuck to it for the most part.
Yeah.
There was a couple instances where
Yeah.
we had to change up, kind of with the scene of her, when she closes the door and he comes out of the bed.
Right.
Those are all, off the cuff type of shots.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I mean,
And we did stick to the
we might even toss some of them up here just
Yeah.
to kind of show you how close that we really got, which is really important. Like, we planned this out.
Yeah, it was very
extremely well.
and with what success it did have, and with its with where I think it lands, quite well. That was all attested to the planning that we did. I mean, me and him had meeting after meeting after meeting, and then along with that, getting some of the most talented crew, here in Central Ohio that I think we could have gotten, especially for the resources that we had. Zero. We had zero resources, and so reaching out to our incredible sound guy, Chris Cummins, getting somebody who is as versatile as it gets.